Good evening, students. Am I audible and visible? Good evening, Swarupam. Veerpal, Jai Hind. Akshay, good evening. Aarti, Bipin, Arbind, Prema. Okay. Now you'll have to excuse me today because I'm low on energy because I'm having a very bad headache. I hope it is okay. Now we'll start with a scheme that was left out yesterday. We'll cover few of the topics that we weren't able to cover yesterday, then we'll move on to today's topics, okay? Now, is the yesterday's notes available? Can anyone check and let me know? VL and Akshay, good evening. वीडियो ब्लर है, मेरे तरफ से दिख रहा है. Okay. Clear. So Akshay, might be the problem with your internet connection. Okay. Now we are going to talk about Pradhan Mantri Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission. Can you let me know what is Ayushman Bharat Yojana? What is Ayushman Bharat Yojana? Ever heard about it? Wait a minute, Swarupam. I'll take the screenshot of this comment and then I will upload to the required team. Give me a second, I'll message it to the required team, okay? Done. It should be resolved now. It will be resolved now. Now, ever heard about Ayushman Bharat Health Insurance? Yes, it is a health insurance scheme where beneficiaries are provided the health insurance cover of 5 lakh rupees per family per year. And is it available only in government hospitals? Is it available only in government hospitals? Hello, good evening, Prayash. What happened, Prema? It is available in both government as well as private hospitals. Now, what kind of treatment can you get here? What happened, Prema? Who did you mail? Have you heard of this term, OPD? OPD is outpatient department. So suppose if you go to a hospital and if you only have cough and cold, obviously the hospital would write you a medicine and they will ask you to go, right? So these kind of medical services aren't covered in Ayushman Bharat. Only when you get admitted to the hospital now, then only you'll get this benefit. Understood this? And this is a health insurance. Whenever you yourself would buy a health insurance, you will have to pay a premium, right? And in this scheme, the premium cost is borne by the government itself. Prema, who is your mentor? What is the name of your mentor, Prema? Okay. Anyone else face the same problem with her? Have you mailed it to her, Prema? Okay. So please once again try the same request with her. If she does not respond, please let me know, Prema, okay? In the Telegram group only, I'll raise your request. Try it once more. Anyway, I'm here only, okay? Don't worry. It happens sometimes, they get overwhelmed. So it is natural they overlooked it, but this shouldn't happen again and again. Wait a minute, I'll take a snap of your comment, okay? Don't worry, nothing would happen to you. Well, I've gotten a response for your question that recording wasn't available. The team has highlighted that there is some tech problem. So, by this evening, you'll get the video. Okay? So, yesterday's video, you'll get it by this evening. They've replied it to me. Okay, no problem, Prema. Ideally, you should attend live lectures, okay, because it helps you clear your doubts. But I understand if you have other obligations also, that is fine. So, if she doesn't follow, Prema, do let me know, okay? Okay, I understand this. It's okay. So, let us come back to this. I was telling you that health insurance, PM Ayushman Bharat is basically a health insurance scheme where people are offered 5 lakh rupees per family per year health insurance cover, which covers surgeries or hospital admissions. It does not cover OPD. And for this health insurance that you are getting from the government is paying the premium amount. Now, when government makes this kind of an arrangement, you can understand you can get treated in both government and private hospitals. But let us suppose you live in a rural area. Which kind of a hospital would you encounter more? Would you encounter more a government hospital or a private hospital? Anyone? Government, right? So one of the now obligations of the government is that we should improve the quality of existing government hospitals, or in an area where there is no government hospital, we should construct a new hospital, right? Right? Now this is a new priority for the government, that yes, we have provided health insurance, but what's the point of health insurance if they do not have a hospital to go to? So for that, government created another scheme under Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission, PM Abhim, right? So what this scheme wants to do? It wants to strengthen infrastructure, and not just for that, for pandemic preparedness also, and emergency response. And it wants to create a decentralized, resilient and self-reliant public health system. And it will also cover primary to tertiary level. Ever understood what is primary, secondary and tertiary levels of healthcare? Now, health sector in India is divided into three categories: primary, secondary, and tertiary. The big hospitals, super specialty hospitals, are called as tertiary healthcare. Secondary healthcare are big district hospitals. And primary healthcare are PHCs. Okay, primary healthcare centers, which are there in villages. Yes. So, these two levels are covered by Ayushman Bharat. It is called as PM Jan Arogya Yojana. Now, one of the problem is that if people are living in rural area, they have access to a primary source of healthcare, right? And this is not covered under PM Jan Arogya Yojana. That is your health insurance. So we also need to strengthen this kind of an infrastructure, right? That for smaller problems, people can go here. They don't have to travel to urban area to get these kind of resources. So it will leave this area free for major diseases, right? Or major healthcare intervention. And when you create primary healthcare centers in rural areas or you improve their quality, it will reduce the overall burden on secondary and tertiary healthcare system. Understood the logic now? So this is the purpose of this scheme. This health infrastructure scheme covers all these three layers. The Jan Arogya Yojana, the health insurance, covers only first two layers. No problem, Rajshekhar. Don't tell me you were having pav bhaji again. Now, how many of you have attended history lectures? Modern history. Avantika, what should I repeat? ग्राम चिकित्सालय देखा है Amazon Prime पे अवंतिका. There is a web series on Amazon Prime, TVF का है, ग्राम चिकित्सालय. छोटू सा हेल्थ केयर सेंटर होता है ना, where a doctor gets posted. That छोटू सा health care center, which is present in most of the rural areas in India, they are called as primary health centers. As the name suggests, they deal with smaller health problems. Cold, cough, पेट दर्द, सर दर्द, etc. Right? So suppose if you don't have that option, you'll have to travel to district headquarters, you'll have to travel to urban area to get even your small health problem addressed. Dispensary basically. So don't you think if government creates adequate amount of healthcare center at primary level, we would reduce the burden on big hospitals which can take care of major diseases, major illnesses? Yes, I've heard that, Shakti. Understood now, Avantika? Okay. Now, I was asking you about modern history. How many of you know what is doctrine of lapse? Have you heard of this term, doctrine of lapse? Let me give you a hint. Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi. Right? Why did she fight with British? What was the reason behind it? Any idea? You know, she did not have a biological son. So Britishers, they wanted to capture your kingdom. So Britishers said, if you don't have a biological son or daughter even for that matter, we won't allow you to give your kingdom to an adopted heir. Right? So this was called as doctrine of lapse, that the succession of the adopted son or daughter, the Britishers won't allow it. Understood? Now we are going to talk about a very important freedom fighter in India from present state of Karnataka, Rani Chennamma. She was married to the king of Kittur and she revolted against Britishers in 1824, many decades before Rani Lakshmi Bai, on the same issue, that is on doctrine of lapse. She had an adopted son, and when she was going to pass her kingdom to her adopted son, the Britishers refused it. And she is very famous in the state of Karnataka. Anyone from Karnataka here? ASB? So doctrine of lapse was a British policy that allowed annexation of those princely state by the Britishers whose ruler died without a biological male heir. And this went on in Satara, Jaitpur, Sambalpur, Udaipur, Jhansi and Nagpur. Understood this? Doctrine of lapse? Now Kafala system. Have you heard this Kafala system anywhere? शक्तिराज चुप रहोगे तुम. Where have you heard it? Kafala system. Saudi Arabia. Good. What is Kafala system? Not exactly rights for migrants, rather restrictions on migrants. Now tell me, what is Kafala system, Shakti? Now, have you heard of that instance that someone, even in the movies, goes to these Arab countries and does not have the passport with them, so they aren't able to return? Have you heard this? Anywhere, even in the movies, you might have heard it. So what happens in a kafala system? Suppose when you have to go and work in these Arab countries, particularly in labor class, what happens that you have to sign a bond with the person who is sponsoring your work, right? So there is a sponsor known as kafil, and he takes your legal responsibility when you work in a Middle Eastern country. And the worker, suppose I am the worker, I won't be able to change jobs, leave the country, or even quit the employment without the permission of this kafil, who is the sponsor of my work. Right? So this has become an exploitative system. And Saudi Arabia has ended this kafala system. You know why Saudi Arabia is doing all of this? Can anyone tell me why is Saudi trying to reform itself? Now, Saudi Arabia is basically an oil-based economy. But you understand, oil is a finite resource. Similarly, oil is also a polluting resource, right? So now, Saudi Arabia wants to transition into a tech and finance-based economy. Just like Dubai and UAE is doing it. So to transition to a tech and finance based economy, you need more investments, You need arrival of skilled labor. And you need a liberal society. Right? Suppose a investment banker settles in Saudi Arabia, but he does not have a place to chill, he does not have a place to socialize. Don't you think they won't come to Saudi Arabia? So to allow all these conditions to happen, they are trying to liberalize their economy, and that is why they are ending these kind of exploitative systems. So Saudi Arabia is right now in the middle of reforms. Entirely they are going to reform their economy. They are reducing their dependence on oil, and they are trying to transition into a technology and a finance based economy. Understood this? So what is happening, it is okay. You would read it and understand it, but why it is happening makes it even more interesting. Now read this. The Finance Ministry has allowed the use of municipal bonds as a security for repo and reverse repo transactions. Tell me, what is a repo transaction? Can anyone tell me? How many of you have attended economy lectures? Prayash Thakur. RBI acts as what? RBI acts as a banker to banks. So when you have to take a loan, you go to a bank, and when banks need loan, they can also go to RBI. Right? So suppose RBI does not have, a bank does not have a money to deal with short term obligations. So in this repo transaction, the bank takes loans, short term loans from RBI. But when you take loans, you have to give a collateral, right? You have to give a collateral, right? So in that same circumstances, banks also need to deposit some collateral with RBI. And in this collateral, banks usually use government securities. And this is a repo is a short form for repurchase obligation. So this is the first leg of transaction. In the second leg of transaction, the bank would return the money with interest to RBI, and RBI would sell back the government securities that it has earlier taken as a collateral back to the bank. So this is the leg second of the repo rate or repo transaction. Well, government securities are bonds issued by the government. When bonds are issued by private companies, those are called as bonds. When government issues those same bonds, those same debt instruments, those are called as government securities. Understood now, Sunanda? So now government has allowed that instead of these government securities, you can also use municipal bonds. So does this increase or decrease the liquidity of municipal bonds? So now municipalities would easily get loans when they issue bonds in the market? Right? Right or wrong? So what you can deposit as collateral for repo? Government securities, listed corporate bonds or debentures, commercial papers and certificate of deposits, and units of ETFs. These are the eligible securities for repo. रट लेना इसको, this is very important. रट लेना इसको, नहीं याद आएगा तो ओके. Now let us come back to today's discussion. Appointment procedure for Chief Justice of India. How does appointment of members of judiciary happen? Can anyone tell me? किस किसने पॉलिटी क्लासेस अटेंड की हैं? Now, Article 124 of Indian Constitution, it states that President of India appoints Supreme Court judges. But President of India does so after consulting the Judiciary. So the word consulting was open-ended in our constitution. This consulting did not say anywhere in the constitution whether the advice of the judiciary is binding or not binding on the government. So before, understood up till now? यहां तक कोई डाउट है? Who makes the appointment? President. How the President of India makes the appointment? After consulting the judiciary. But the word only highlights in the constitution consulting. It does not mean whatever judiciary says, is it binding on president or not. Understood? So before Indira Gandhi, there was a understanding between government and judiciary that they are going to appoint senior most judges of High Court as justices of Supreme Court and senior most judge in Supreme Court as the Chief Justice of India. This was an understanding that became a convention. You understand what is a convention? You understand what is a convention? Convention is a healthy practice that has developed. चलता चला आ रहा है तो चल रहा है. Not legally binding. Okay? So, the relationship between executive that is the government, and judiciary was harmonious. There was an understanding कि तुम नाम दोगे, हम अपॉइंट कर देंगे, सबसे सीनियर आदमी का नाम भेजना मेरे पास या औरत का. Understood? Now, when Indira Gandhi came into power, many of government's legislations were declared invalid by the Supreme Court. Right? तो मैम को गुस्सा आ गया. So she ensured that important judgments that were declared as invalid by the Supreme Court, those judges, even if they were the senior most judges, they won't be appointed as Chief Justice. And the judge who gave a dissenting opinion, or the judge who agreed with the government, that judge was made the Chief Justice of India not once but twice. They were made judges twice. So Indira Gandhi overlooked the seniority aspect, which was being followed up before her. Right? So this created a problem. The understanding, the convention that had been developed was now broken. Understood the problem? जो harmonious relationship था, that ended, and there was a tension between government and judiciary. Understood up till now? मसाला मिल रहा है आज? Polity, post-independence, history, everything combined in one class. Now, there are cases informally known as three judges cases. In the first judge case, Supreme Court highlighted that the word consultation that is given in the Constitution of India, it did not mean concurrence of judiciary. It did not mean concurrence of the judiciary. So according to the first judge's case and its judgment, Supreme Court stated that whatever the judiciary highlights, that is not binding on the government. But things changed in second judge's case. In the second judge's cases, Supreme Court overturned its decision in first judge's cases and highlighted that the word consultation means concurrence of judiciary. Means whatever judiciary says to the government, it is binding on the government. Now, consultation with whom? किससे consult करोगे? There are multiple judges in the Supreme Court. So it stated that the opinion of judiciary that will be given to the government would constitute opinion of Chief Justice of India and two senior judges, senior most judges of Supreme Court. Understood up till now? So now the advice won't just be given by one Chief Justice of India, it will be given by three judges of Supreme Court. And this was the first time collegium system existed, or this was the first instance when collegium system was formed. Then came the third judge's case. In third judge's cases, Supreme Court stated that now the opinion of judiciary would be given by Chief Justice of India and 4 senior most judges of Supreme Court. So now the size of collegium became 1 plus 4. It was 1 plus 2 earlier. So this is the present size of collegium. Not important, Shivgami, the year. Understood up till now? Any doubts? Now the next thing I tell you, Shivgami, here is important. Any doubts up till now? Students, now in 2014 a big political development happened. What was that political development? Can anyone tell me? NDA government came into power, and after many years the BJP itself got more than 272 seats. That is majority of BJP on their own. And in 2015 they brought 99th Amendment Act of the Indian Constitution, and this amended Article 124. This Amendment Act stated that now the appointments to judiciary will be done by a body called as National Judiciary Appointments Commission, and this would constitute Chief Justice of India and 2 senior most judges of Supreme Court. It would include Law Minister of Union Government and 2 legal experts appointed by the Union Government. So can you tell me what was changed in NJAC? Not you, Shaktiraj, anyone else? What changed NJAC? Earlier, who was recommending? Only judiciary. Now, this also includes member directly or indirectly belonging to the government. So, when this matter reached Supreme Court of India said that this is unconstitutional. Why? It violated the independence of judiciary. What did it do? It violated independence of judiciary. So government tried to change this. Now we are back to this. So this is the present size of collegium system, and even today the appointment of judges of Supreme Court takes place through collegium system. समझ आई बात? मसाला मिला आज? जो मसाले की तलाश में तुम लोग क्लास आते हो, मिला मसाला? Now, following that convention, even today, the senior most judge becomes the Chief Justice of India. So, the outgoing Chief Justice, Mr. B.R. Gavai or Justice B.R. Gavai, he has recommended Justice Suryakant, who is the senior most judge of Supreme Court right now after B.R. Gavai, as the next Chief Justice of India. So, the Union Law Ministry seeks the recommendation of outgoing Chief Justice, and this recommendation is forwarded to President. Conventionally, by practice, not legally, conventionally, the senior most judge of Supreme Court is appointed as next Chief Justice of India, and this has been broken when Mrs. Indira Gandhi. आ गया समझ? Well, I'm forgetting third time who. I guess it is only 2 times that I can remember. Here it is written third time. I'll see to it. Once was in 73, I guess, 73 or 74. Another one is in 83 or 82. Both of the time Mrs. Indira Gandhi was the Prime Minister. That brought a question. She said that judiciary should be committed. Committed here, according to Mrs. Indira Gandhi, meant committed to the goals of government. And there was a statement that judiciary can't be seen as committed to the government. It should be committed only to the constitution. Shivgami, I did not understand the question. So the word committed judiciary, committed bureaucracy means negative. Committed judiciary, committed bureaucracy means that both of them are committed to government, not to constitution or not to people or not to public service. So whenever you see the word committed judiciary, committed bureaucracy, that word has negative connotation. Okay, remember that. मजाक उड़ाने के लिए बोलते हैं. To shame judiciary or to shame bureaucracy, the word committed judiciary, committed bureaucracy is used. Shivgami, but that government intervention is that, sir. I did not understand your question, Shivgami. Shivgami was a character in Bahubali, if I am not wrong. Ramya wala character. The Queen Mother. Now I am having a very bad headache. I'll want your permission to stop this class right now. We will continue it tomorrow. Can I do that? Shivgami, I told you, the judiciary, when they struck down many of the laws passed by Indira Gandhi government, this made Indira Gandhi herself angry. So to respond to judiciary, she overlooked the convention that has developed, and that is why she overlooked the seniority and appointed in the first case 4th most senior judge as the Chief Justice, not the first senior most judge, 4th most senior most judge. Some Justice Ray, his name was some Shankar Ray. And then the second time she did the same in 1980s, where she appointed the second senior most judge, not the first, as the Chief Justice of India. Now understood, Shivgami? Okay. This was basically battle of egos that happens in any human. You might be Prime Minister, you might be Chief Justice of India, but eventually you're a human, right? You're subjected to vulnerabilities each and every human's face. Yes. That is why the word committed judiciary was used. So I'll take your permission. I'll end the class. We'll resume from here tomorrow. Okay. Bye bye everyone.